Welcome to Hong Kong on completing Football Manager 2024. We're about to accept our first job at Resources Capital in the Hong Kong League. There's only one Hong Kong League, and it's the Hong Kong Life, the Bok Life Hong Kong Premier League. It's the one. They finished 10th in the season that's just finished, so we'll be joining ahead of the second season in game. But one thing to note before we go and join this club with a lovely pink kit is that Singapore is broken. So if you just look here on the job centre, we've filtered, we're including Singapore in the filter. None of the clubs appear there, but if you go to job security, all of the Singapore clubs have sacked all of their staff. So I've done some looking into this, and a month into every save, all Singaporean clubs sack their AI staff, which ain't great. So and it doesn't appear that you can actually apply for jobs either. So you can put your interest in for everything and apply for them, but or not even apply for them. You just can't even apply for the job. Look, it's grayed out for every single one. So that kind of makes Singapore unplayable, which means I can't complete it, which is annoying. I could, in theory, start the game at a Singapore club, but then when all the other clubs sack all their managers, that kind of ruins the whole challenge of it. So I think we might just end up skipping Singapore. Regardless, we're off to Hong Kong first, and we are going to accept the offer from Resources Capital. We're going to become their new manager. If we go through here, we'll have a quick look. Here's the lovely pink kit, and we'll have a look at the squad and see what we need to do to try and basically turn them from 10th place in the league into champions, because that's the idea. We want to win Hong Kong. We need to win in Hong Kong to complete it. So looking through the squad list, instantly you can see we've got lots of players who are not from Hong Kong, who are pretty good compared to the rest of the squad. And then everyone else, from this guy here, is bang average or less. So, we're going to have to look through who we've got as to form the formation. But this guy looks like our best player, according to the star rating. It's Lee Hyun Kwon. He's Korean. We've got a Japanese guy, Kotaro Umeda. We're going to have a formation with some fullbacks at least. Then we've got a defender, Kim Hyun-ho. Another Korean. Lots of Koreans here, basically, plying their trade in Hong Kong for us. I think we can only have 6 foreigners in the squad at any given time. So it looks like we've already got all of them. So it's going to be a bit of a limitation on what we can actually do in terms of bringing in players who aren't from Hong Kong and therefore have some talent. But we'll have a look at where we finished last year, 10th. 5 wins, 5 draws, 10 losses. So pretty disappointing season. Although, to be fair, only 8 points behind 4th. So a couple of improvements, and we could be quite high up the table. The league winners here are Lehman. They've got a guy who is Dutch and good, who's their best player. So they're going to be the team to try and beat. Who are Kitchi, are also, they've won a lot of the recent leagues. They're probably one of the best teams in the nation. We'll try and have to beat them as well. They've got a Austrian guy, so a very old Austrian guy. We've got a lot of Koreans in our side, so that's kind of where we're going to be focusing our attention in our formation to try and get all of these basically 5 or 6 guys into the squad. And then it'll be a case of getting the best of the rest from Hong Kong and trying to pick up people who are already naturalised to try and get around that foreign quota. Right, that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump forward to the beginning of the next season, have a look at what we've done in the summer transfer window, and look at our prospects for our first season in charge in Hong Kong. And back we go, as if by magic. We are in. We've made a couple of transfers. Basically, if we look at the transfer history, we've brought one person in, and he's a great player. He's 41, but he's naturalised to Hong Kong. And I'm not sure where he's actually from, but it ain't Hong Kong. He's actually from Brazil, but he's been in Hong Kong for a while, basically since 2007. Basically, he's had a couple of seasons there on loan, gone back to Brazil, come into China, and then been in Hong Kong ever since 2010. So he's played in a few clubs around. He's got some goals. He's 41, looks really good for the league we're in, obviously, and he's not cost as much. And he doesn't count on the quota for foreign players. So that's kind of what we needed. That's the squad. He jumps in here as our technically 3rd best player according to the star ratings. This is the tactic we've gone with. So it kind of started out life Very similar to our sort out SIFC tactic, but we've kind of moved things around to get some fullbacks because we've got some really good fullbacks and wingbacks. So we've had to do that, bringing both of those into the squad. We've kind of got our best player playing out of position because we can't really have wingbacks and wingers at the same time. So he is now playing as a Mazzala in the middle because it's as close to a winger as we can get him. And we've got some shadow strikers and advanced playmakers here with our poacher up top. So this is the 11 we're going to go with. Well, the formation we're going to go with. Potentially not the 11 every game, obviously. We'll see. But we'll play through and basically see how the season goes. If we look at the season preview, we've bumped up to 9th, which is better than 10th. But essentially, we've just got to not finish last, is what the board have said. So we'll have a look at how we do that and try and go through a season where we don't get relegated. Because I think you can now get relegated. I think there's 12 teams. Yeah, there's 12 teams now. So that'll be fun. Let's just not get relegated, shall we, in this one? And yeah, we'll be back at the end of the season to see how we've got on and how far up the table we've climbed. Whether we can get higher than 10th would be good. Higher than 9th would be even better. Top 3 to get into the continental competitions would be even great, I'd say. But join me in a few seconds as we complete Season 1. And we'll have a look at how we've done. Now, I don't mean to be big-headed, but we're halfway through the season and we've got 18 points. Last season, this side had 20 for the full year. So I think we're doing quite well with just one change to the side and a good formation. I say good formation, a more tailored formation. So looking at where we've gone throughout so far this season, we are currently 4th in the league, just 1 point behind second, and quite a lot behind Sham Sui Po, who are running away with the league title. They're 8 points ahead of us. It's kind of a 3-way, 4-way fight for second. We're honestly not going to finish in the top 2, I don't think. Kitchi are much better than us, and we can't seem to beat Eastern AA either. But Resources Capital are doing well. Looking at the schedule, we started out okay. We did a victory in our first game, had a little bit of a blip our first home game, but then a good run throughout September and into February as we started dropping into the various cup competitions. A few defeats here, but the highlight really of the first half of the season is this 5-0 victory away from home at the defending champions on my birthday as well. So you can't really complain about that. A hat-trick from Ikondu, who has been kind of the highlight of the season so far. We'll have a look at the player stats as well. We've just lost to Eastern again for the for the third time this season. Second time in the league. Also lost in the Hong Kong FA Cup. Looking at the other competitions, we are out of the Senior Challenge Shield, out of the FA Cup, and probably not going to advance in the Sapling Cup either because we've been drawn with the top 2 in the league. So it's kind of difficult to see how we're going to get past them. We've already lost to Shams Shui Po in the Cup. But we've got Kitchi to play in our last 2 games. So it's going to be tough to get through into... It's just the top 2, basically, who go through from the Sapling Cup. There's loads of cup competitions in Hong Kong because it's such a short season. But we're doing well and truly above the prediction of 9th or 10th. And we're definitely not going to finish bottom of the league this year. That is for certain. Looking at the squad, though, it's been Chukwuemeka Ikondu, the Nigerian midfielder, who has been the revelation. Best average rating across the season of 7.5, 9 goals, only just 1 shy of top goal scorer Lee Yoon Kwan, who, as we highlighted it earlier in the video, he's expected to be our best player. He's the winger who can play basically everywhere on the pitch. Giovanni has not yet scored. He has, to be fair, played 4 games, got injured for a couple of months, and then played 2. He's now 42 as well. So maybe not as good a signing as... But if we hadn't signed him, then we would have made no changes and then doubled our points tally potentially for the year. So, I mean, not the best signing in the end, but he's cost us nothing. It's just £350 per week, which is nothing compared to Lee Yoon Kwan, who we aren't going to be able to re-sign at that, I don't think, at £1,200 a week. But we shall see. He's been very, very good, though, so far this season, getting 10 goals from a variety of positions. Elsewhere, kind of who else to note? Our best domestic player has been Yoon Kar Hae, who has played 14 times, got a 7.39 average rating. He's a midfielder, a 22 as well, possibly one of the better on the Hong Kong nationalised players. He's done really well for us so far as well. And we've kind of just been doing okay, generally speaking. A couple of big victories, as we mentioned, against Liman, 5-0. We beat Hong Kong Under-23s 5-1 as well, but that's to be expected. A great 5-3 here against North District, but for the rest of the season, in fact, no, the Sapling Cup, you play everyone twice, so maybe we do have a chance in that one. Potentially, we've got a chance to get through in that one. I thought it was just playing each other once, but we've got a whole fixture list in January of Sapling Cup games, so we shall see how things get on there. The league, however, possibly, well, easily top half finish, I reckon. Potentially going to be challenging for the top 2, top 3 places. But we shall see. We're halfway there now. 5 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. Last season it was 5 wins, 5 draws, 10 losses. So already doing much, much better. Even if we fall off a little bit of a cliff going on into the second half of the season, I think we are pretty much safe from relegation. But there we go. That's sort of the halfway through the season update. I'll play through the rest of the season now and get back to you in a few moments' time with the end of Season 1 update here in Hong Kong. Okay, and we are at the end of season number 1 in Hong Kong, and it's been a decently successful season. We started out really strong, and if you look across the competitions, obviously we've not won anything, we've ended up mid-table, but that strong start where we even topped the league early doors, we kind of tailed off and got into a bit of a position around about 6th and 5th place. Lost out to Wufu Taipo for the battle for 5th, but we were never really in the hunt for the top couple of places, but definitely nowhere near the bottom half. Well and truly the 6th or 5th best side in the league. 10 wins, 6 draws, 6 losses. A good return on our investment of signing one 41-year-old player who got a couple of goals all season. So yeah, really wasn't particularly needed transfers-wise. But it was also interesting that on the last day of the season we drew with Kichi and stopped them from winning the title. So that was always fun. Looking at our run through the season, again, wanted to point out that Liman victory we mentioned earlier on. We also got another 5-0 victory here against Southern District. 5-1 against Hong Kong Under-23s, which is kind of expected. They're the side that got relegated. We beat them 5-1 twice in the league. And then on the last day, as mentioned, that 3-3 draw away at Kichi at Mongkok Stadium. We'd managed to get another goal there for Giovan. I think that was his 3rd, maybe 4th of the season. All came on very late as well throughout the campaign. But that draw, despite the hat-trick, stopped Kichi from getting the league title. But we don't care about them really. We want to basically look about our side. If we go back to our competition. So yeah, 6th place in the league. Got to the quarterfinals, only to be knocked out by Kichi in the Senior Challenge Shield. They lost in the final there as well. I think they lost in the final of everything basically. Knocked out in the first round by Eastern AA in the Hong Kong FA Cup. So they ended up, again, Kichi losing the final, but they were the side that won the league, so that's not really anything to be upset about. And then in the Sapling Cup, we got into the group stages. If we look at our group, we finished 3rd behind Kichi and Sham Shui Po, who were, again, both teams in the top 3 in the league. And we did really well, actually. We're only 4 points behind Kichi in that one. 3 losses there, though, and then the final stages, I think they once again... No, they didn't even get to the final. Eastern AA got a treble by the looks of things. But that was it, basically. The season did okay. Lee Yoon Kwon was our top goal scorer. He's leaving, though, in July. He's off back to his native Korea. So that is someone we're going to have to replace. Looking at the squad, if we kind of filter through, or look through first at our best performers. Can't really call these top 2 the best performers, but Ikondu was kind of the revelation. I wasn't expecting him to be as good as he was. And then obviously Lee Yoon Kwon, who kind of played everywhere, but he's off at the end of the season. Ikondu is kind of already telling me he's leaving at the end of next season, so that'll be good. And what else did we want to point out? The goalkeeper of... Where's he gone? I can't find him. Pong Chuk Hoi got better and better as the season went on. He was basically the first choice goalkeeper by the end of the year. Didn't have in the best of average ratings, but, you know, when 28 games played, he's pulled himself up and sort of makes me think I might need to not get a new goalkeeper, because I was going in thinking probably need to get a foreign goalkeeper of a bit higher quality to help us shore up the defence, but maybe not, as he's coming on a little bit better than he was looking like at the beginning of the season. Looking at people who aren't on long-term deals, quite a lot of these will be going, obviously. Our best player will be leaving. Kutara Umeda, I don't think, wants to renew his contract as well. Giovan's kind of been a bit disappointing. Only 3 goals. It took him basically until the last 3 games of the season to get any goals. So there was that. He was he's 42, so you can't really be expecting too much from him. But potentially looking at getting, obviously, we need some more in the midfield ranks if Yoon Kwon is going, and potentially at the back as well. Maybe a rethink of the formation. Might just go back to the 3-4-2-1 that we have over on the Sort It Out SI Let's Play. But we'll see how that goes as we go through. And potentially getting new goalkeeper, new striker to fill out some of those foreign player slots and kind of push us forward. The theory being having a really strong goalkeeper and a really strong striker should hopefully give us more victories than not throughout the season. But that's kind of a bit of a wrap-up of season number 1 in Hong Kong. I'm going to go through the summer transfer window now and get to the beginning of season number 2, which will obviously start, I think the season starts basically in the middle of August, so we've got a couple of months to run through now, see if we can strengthen the side. We had a good run towards the end of the season, apart from those 2 defeats in April. And strengthen the side a little bit and put us in a better position going into season 2, and hopefully we'll improve on next 6th place. So we've gone from 10th to 6th. Does that mean maybe 2nd is next, or even potentially the Hong Kong title? Obviously, no, the other competitions don't really matter in this, but it'd be nice to win as many as possible. And if we do qualify for a continental competition, which obviously we haven't this year, but if we do, always good to play on the continent. So that's the end of season number 1. We'll go through the summer now and have a look at what happens for the start of season number 2 here at Resources Capital. And we are back after the summer break, and this is the squad. I'm not quite sure whether it's been a good summer transfer window or not here in Hong Kong, because it's been a struggle to get anyone half decent in, and we've kind of got a lot less numbers in the squad than we did as we left a couple of months ago. But the season is just 7 days away, and I think I've done all my transfer business now, so I thought I'd just come in and have a quick recap of what's been going on. We've signed, is it 4 players or technically 5 players, I guess. He came in just before the end of the season switchover. So Chan Soo Kwan, 33-year-old attacking midfielder, homegrown, looks to have slotted himself nicely into the starting lineup. Then Kam Chi Kin, not great 21-year-old defender, but he's got a good bit of potential, and he is home-based as well from Hong Kong. Slightly better central defender, 30 years old, Yim Kai Wah, who again should be in the starting 11 now. And then we've got Chan Ching Him, who can play on the left of defence. I'd like him to be able to play wing back, but I don't think he does. And then he kind of can play down the middle of the park as well. He's 27. And then the final signing, we actually spent some money on this guy, Indonesian Giovanni Rinaldi, who is a central midfielder. Not the greatest foreign player we've got, but he slots into the side. So if we look, this is kind of our best player is still potentially Ikondu. Now that the one of our many legion of Koreans has left us at the end of last season. If we look through, actually, we can see who's left. They all left on free transfers, so you have to flick through as to players released, I guess, is where you'd see them. But this is the mass of players who left us, including Umeda, who was gone to Sendai, which is disappointing that he's gone elsewhere. And it was a free transfer, wasn't he? Lee Yoon Kwon, he went back to Daejeon in Korea, so he's no longer our best player. But if we look at the club info, it's now Ikondu, who did well last season, actually. 7 goals across his 18 appearances in the league, 10 in all competitions. Looking at our, we've only got the first 2 competitions. They're not started just yet. We need to go forward a few days. But I think if we look at the predictions, we're probably going to finish similar sort of place to where we were before. So we've predicted 7th, which isn't too distant from where we finished last season. I think maybe 4th at best would be our chance. Kichi did get rid of their manager, by the way, and didn't hire me instead. Never mind. I would like to jump up clubs because it would be easier than trying to build Resources Capital all the way up, but we shall see how we get on. We've got plenty of time. I'm still young, I guess. 35. We'll see how we get on. Right, we'll go through potentially to halfway point of the season, depending on how the season develops. We'll get to about Christmas time. Or if it goes really poorly or really well, we'll be back at the end of the year. But either way, hang around. We're still in Hong Kong. This could be a long one yet. And we have played through the first half of the season now, and after 10 games you can see I was wrong. We had done a pretty good job over the transfer window because we are top of the league table, 2 points clear of Eastern AA, but they have a game in hand and we're playing them, so our game against them should have already happened, but it's been postponed due to cup fixtures, so we play them just as we get into January. But otherwise, it's been a really good, unbeaten start to the season. Obviously, after 10 games, we've had 2 draws against Shamshui Po and North District, who are, 5th and 10th. It's not ideal, but we've beaten everyone else we've played, and we played everyone apart from our title rivals, Eastern, who sit just 2 points behind us, but they have a game in hand. But we could, if they win their game in hand and then we beat them, we'd still top. So we're okay, I think, in that sort of stretch of things. Elsewhere, we're out of the Senior Shield, lost to Lehman in the quarterfinals, through to the semi-finals in the FA Cup after beating Eastern AA, and we're currently top of our group in the Sapling Cup as well, looking like we may be in a good shout of getting through to the final 4 in that one. In terms of the squad, who has been playing well, it's Moon Ji-sung essentially has been our best player. 8 goals from 13 starts. He's not quite the top scorer though, because somehow Benjamin Ortega is just scoring loads as well. He's got 9, but looking at that average rating of a 7.88, our not last remaining Korean, second, one of 2 remaining Koreans who plays down the left-hand flank, has been far and away the best player. Elsewhere, we've had some really good performances from Lau Wing Hong, who has come on he's played 4, come off the bench in 3. Most of those starts have been in cups though, so he's come off the bench 3 times as youngster, 16, but he's doing really well when he's given the opportunity to play. In terms of opportunities for the rest of the season, I think we are well and truly secured in the top 2 in the league, potentially 2 other cups on offer as well, but that is sort of the plan for the second half of the season, is to do well in everything. We don't have any ideas of making any transfers because it's clearly working, whatever we've done so far. So I'm not minded to make any particular changes during the transfer window. But yeah, looking to focus on that fixture against Eastern as we just get into January. The rest of January is Sapling Cup games, so we'll know by the end of the month how far we'll be getting in that competition. But it's looking like, if you look at our group, again, unbeaten there. We are pretty much not guaranteed because Kichi is still there, but we are well and truly in the driving seat to get through into the knockout rounds there. So all in all, a good start to the season. We're going to play through the second half now, see how we get on and see if we can actually complete Hong Kong after 2 seasons, which would be a pretty good turnaround for a side that started the first season, or finished the first season in 10th before we took over them. Not many changes have been made, but we've done well to turn this side into a title challenger. I'll see you in a second when we play through the second half of the season. And that's it, the season is done, and as you can see, we have conquered Hong Kong. We have gone from mediocre all the way to invincible. Look at this, 0 defeats in the whole season, just 4 draws. We've only dropped points in 4 games. We didn't beat North District at all in the league. Drew with them twice, but we have come away with a considerable 9-point margin at the top of the table, and that's not the only silverware we won. Obviously knocked out of the Senior Shield early on in the season. That was our only defeat of the whole year. We won the Hong Kong FA Cup, defeating Lehman, getting that revenge, 1-0 in the final. If we quickly look here, we went down to 10 men after a second yellow card, and then Chan Sui Kwan scored with 4 minutes left, and that was enough. That made the difference. Our goalkeeper getting a man of the match performance. Pong Chuk Hwai obviously keeping us in it the whole game. They were much better than us. It was a bit of a tough performance, but we came through for our 3rd trophy, and that is the 3rd trophy because in the Sapling Cup we beat Kichi 4-2, rather more convincingly. But again, it was a tight game, separated by some good goal scoring when we had the opportunity to do so. Won 4-2. That was our 2nd trophy of the season. I think we'd just won the league by that point. So anyway, we've won 3 trophies. That's the important thing. Looking at the league campaign, you can see here we didn't have a single goal scorer in the top 3. Average ratings, Moon Ji-sung up there with 7.75. Wasn't even the top average rating across the season, but it was just a solid, all-around, excellent performance for the team. If you look through our schedule, you can see basically there's 1 defeat the whole season at the end of October to Lee Man in the Senior Shield quarterfinals. Everything else was either a victory or a draw. Even in the group stage of the Sapling Cup, we only dropped points twice. Got 2 draws in that, 4 draws in the league. Everything else was a victory and some fantastic performances. Eastern, obviously, towards the end of the season, we drew 2-2 with them and had to leave it late to come back from 2-0 down. Just before half-time, we got the first goal, and then Yoon Sai Kit got his second with 15 minutes to go to pull things level. We obviously, I mentioned we beat Kichi 4-2 there. Any other big results to kind of pull out? We beat Kichi 3-0 in the second league game against them this season. Another convincing performance. And basically, I think, Lee Man won the league the year before. 2 years ago. They're down in 7th. Eastern were definitely our closest rivals. They only dropped 3 games, really. One of them to us, and they lost, surprisingly, twice to Kowloon City, a bogey team. And that was 2 of their 7 victories. It was also interesting to see Central and Western District survived by beating Hong Kong FC. I think that was their last game of the season, 4-1, which put them out of the relegation zone, and just on head-to-head, they managed to go and basically survive in the Hong Kong Premier League for next season. Hong Kong FC getting relegated. Now, Resources Capital have won, and they've qualified for the AFC Cup, but I won't be there because I've now conquered Hong Kong. I have ticked that off. I've completed the league. The first of 54, because we can't do Singapore, which we already mentioned in the previous video, or earlier on in this video, sorry. So we are definitely done with Hong Kong. We are well and truly moving on to pastures new. We're going to try and go to Indonesia next, but looking at who is available, we're probably not going to find a job anytime soon. But looking at the best performers across the season, obviously Moon Ji-sung, our Korean star, he's off to Ansan. He's off back to Korea, going to their K-League 2, which is disappointing, but I won't be here to see that disappointment, so it's fine. Most of the other internationals we've managed to re-sign for another season or 2, and basically keep the squad mostly intact for the next season. Best homegrown star, as you can see here, was Sang Chung-hin, who plays on the opposite flank to Moon. He doesn't look that good on paper, but he's Hong Kong, so no one does. But a 7.56 average rating across the season from 35 games. Another one to call out is Benjamin Ortega. Again, he's come on really strong throughout the season. He's just pipped to our top goal scorer with 17 goals, just getting 1 more than Moon. And then Ikondu, who was last season's top goal scorer, once again got 11. As you can see, nobody got all the goals. Nobody, basically, it was all well spread across the whole side. We did lots of rotation through all of the games. Obviously, it's not just because it's a 22-game season, doesn't mean it's just 22 games. There's loads of fixtures in the Sapling Cup. There's 3 cup competitions to work through. And if you can see on my career stats, we've had 74 games, 149 of them, so it's a really good start to our career. No time on holiday, look, for anyone wondering, I'm not holidaying through this, I'm playing each and every game, but for 690 days in charge, we've got a very good win percentage of 2/3 of the games all secured with victories. Won the league, won 2 cups, done everything we possibly could apart from winning the Senior Shield in Hong Kong, but now we're off to pastures new, and just to make sure that we are well and truly doing that, we're going to go here and hit the resign button and say farewell to Hong Kong. Thank you very much for watching. They're going to try and convince me not to stay, but thank you very much for watching. Please like this video, share it around all your friends, subscribe to the channel, and hang around for next time out when we go and conquer the next nation here on Completing Football Manager. Thanks for watching.